Hello, 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 and welcome back to the live Q&A session with Donny Coram. I'm your host, the Foreclosure Deals Coach. Thank you guys for tuning in each and every single week to this live broadcast where we're going to discuss how you can get started in the real estate investing industry. And guys, I'm so excited. There is so much going on right now in the real estate marketplace. And I know we talk about some of the basics every single week, but I want to take you back in time a little bit. Before I get jumping into this, remember that I am watching live comments. I can see that there are lots of you already tuning in to this live broadcast. So if you've got questions about real estate investing while I'm kind of rambling on here a little bit, please hop in the comments, say hello, let me know you're here, introduce yourself. Let's talk about your real estate investment journey. This show really is all about you. So I appreciate you guys being here each and every single week. We have a lot to cover. Let's get to it. As I promised, I want to take you back in time. And the reason I want to do this is because anytime you're doing something new, okay, you're going to find yourself dealing with what we commonly call imposter syndrome. Are you familiar with that term? Imposter syndrome is when you find yourself in a situation where you don't believe that you're qualified or you're the right fit for that situation. And before I was a professional real estate investment coach, many, many years back, you got to keep in mind that I have done over 300 flips in my career. Okay. In that amount of time, I've seen pretty much everything you can imagine has happened to me, sometimes twice. From that, I learned a lot of cool stuff. But I go back to about 2019. Okay, you feeling that right now? Listen, a lot of people are feeling that. Are you sure that you're in the right place at the right time? Hey, listen, you're not alone. I'm feeling that exact same way. I was feeling that exact same way. Many years ago, it was 2019. My wife and I, Laura and I, were living in downtown Denver in the Spire building. Now, for those of you who are not super familiar with downtown Denver, you might be familiar with the convention center because a lot of people go to convention centers for massive events. Well, we lived in the residential building right next door to the convention center. If you've seen that big giant blue bear, okay, I'm going to see if I can bring up the convention center bear just to jive your memory here just a little bit. But there's this big giant blue bear that's kind of peering into the convention center. I'm going to actually found a cool picture of this bear right now. If you haven't seen it, and I'm going to share my screen so you can see that. Hold on. All right. So we're living in the Spire building. We have this the big giant blue bear outside of our window, and we were actively flipping houses. Do you see this? Do you see the picture of the bear here? Okay, very, very famous landmark in downtown Denver. A lot of people are kind of familiar with that. Anyway, living there and trying to figure out what we're going to do with our lives. We were flipping houses and acting as a real estate agency. Laura owned a franchise, a Pink Realty franchise that she was selling properties through in the Denver market, and I was dabbling in flipping. We were doing probably 7 to 8 flips a year relatively consistently, okay? Well, on 2019, we did our big New Year's Eve bash in the Spire building, have a lot of great friends who live in that building who are kind of fellow socialites. You don't move into a condo building like that unless you're really big around people. So it's 2019, we're partying. Everybody's kind of setting their New Year's resolutions as we're sitting in the hot tub. And I looked over at Laura and I said, you know what would be really, really cool? If we could get to 50 flips in 1 year. Now, this was 2019 heading into 2020, okay? And then we went after it, baby. Like we hit the market extremely hard, did everything it took to achieve that objective. What we didn't know at that moment is that coronavirus was coming. Like there were rumblings about it late 2019. I remember watching a news article about a virus in China that was kind of making waves a little bit. They were kind of concerned about it, but we had no idea how bad it was going to get. Well, in 2020, the market came to a halt because they ceased showings for people while we're working on it. So here we have this big, lofty, crazy goal. Let's do 50 flips in a year. And now we have this side factor, this thing that nobody could have predicted was going to hit us. And let's face it, we're going to be talking about the coronavirus pandemic, which, by the way, I don't know if you heard this, but they officially ended the pandemic a few weeks ago. So with all due respect, if you're still out there wearing masks in public, you don't need to be doing that. I want to be the one to tell you that they're officially saying it's over. You can go back to living again, okay? But here we are, we get started. We bought like 4 or 5 flips very quickly, and then we were working on that progress, or we're going to do 50 flips in a year. Well, about March, they shut down the ability to do real estate at all. You couldn't do showings. You weren't supposed to leave your house without a permit. Suddenly, the world changed, and this big, lofty goal seemed impossible. And I will never forget sitting in my condo in downtown Denver right about March going, well, this is how my story is going to end. This is how we're going to file bankruptcy. We're going to lose everything. I got this crazy goal. I got all these houses we're working on flipping. At the time, we probably owned 4 or 5 that we were working on at the same time. We're going to lose everything. I thought it was over. Okay. In the end of that year, despite that crisis, we managed to finish that year doing 40 fix and flip deals. Okay, we moved out of the Spire building. It was very difficult to live in a condo building like that because it felt a lot like a prison, but we pushed forward. We got what we got to do done, and we ended up doing 40, not the 50 I was targeting, but 40 flips in a single year. Okay, and I share that story with you because that was the ultimate imposter syndrome. First of all, I had to create this big, lofty goal in my mind to do something that I didn't believe I could do, and then we had to put it into action despite unknown and somewhat unovercomable odds. Okay, you are in that spot right now. Facebook user just mentioned that's me right now. I get it, man. A lot of people feel that way when they meet me and want to get started in real estate investing. It feels like you've got unovercomable odds. Let me tell you, and I'm going to share some stories with you of some clients who have completed deals that they were in the same spot that you are right now. So my encouragement to you, before I go a little further, I start bringing that in, is nothing is not overcomable. You can literally do anything you put your mind to. Now, I know that sounds like mindset fluff, but I mean it to my core. The only reason you have not done a fix and flip deal up until this moment, if that is your objective, is because you didn't get the right guidance. I mean it. Nothing else is stopping you except the hand holding. It's not the money. Money is accessible. We very rarely use our own money to do deals. You have to invest a little bit of your own capital, but ultimately it's leveraged capital most of the time that gets people to do deals. And more pressing, it just in general, if you're going to get wealthy, look at the common theme of wealthy people. They're almost always using other people's money to get wealthy in life, whether it's starting a business, right? And you go get a massive business loan for $1 million or $2 million to get going. When you're getting business operating capital, you're almost always using other people's money. So it's not your bank account right now that is stopping you from doing your first deal. I promise you that. Okay, so what is it? The reality is you need to get on the phone call with me, and I mean this sincerely. Click the link, go to bit.ly FDCCA, okay? And we're gonna discuss if coaching is right for you, and if nothing else, you and I are gonna be able to develop a relationship where I help you through the limiting factors that are stopping you from doing this. Okay, you've got to overcome your imposter syndrome, because if you stay where you are right now, and please pay attention to this, guys. If you continue to do what you have always done, you're going to continue to get what you've always got. Is that not 100% true? Okay, and this is not just a mindset thing, though mindset is super important. The coaching aspect of Foreclosure Deals coaching is taking you from a state of inaction. I don't know how to do this. I don't know where to find the deals. I don't know how to do the deal analysis confidently. I certainly don't know where I'm going to come up with the money, right? How am I going to fix this property? Right? And how am I going to sell this at a profit? As long as you stay there, you're just going to do just that. Stay there. Okay. And what I'm encouraging you to do today is break through those limiting beliefs. And listen, I know it's easier said than done. I'm dealing with the same mindset blocks you are each and every single day. What I have done differently is, despite the fear that I felt I was living on the 42nd story of the Spire building. So I'm overlooking the big giant blue bear, but I can see the entire city. Literally the world is out my front door. It's a gorgeous view. okay? And I sat on my balcony, 42 stories up, where I could see people walking below me like ants. And I thought to myself, you can do this. It is possible. Just take steps. And then even when adversity came for me, which it does for everybody, even when that adversity showed up, I was able to push through that and still manage to do 40 deals a year. Let me ask you something. If you make an average profit, because by the way, the minimum profit on that deal you're going to do in my coaching program is a profit of $25,000. If we don't hit $25,000 on your first deal, we're going to do another deal till you hit it. Right? If you have other financial struggles, things that are stopping you from getting into a deal right away, and it takes longer than normal to get you into your first deal, I'm going to work with you for as long as it takes to achieve that objective. This is not like a lot of mentorship programs out there. You know, I'm a big fan of Fan Merrill. I love watching his show, A&E's Flip This House, etc. But this is a coaching program where they blow in a town, right? They do this big thing. In our case, we're at the World Arena we have here in Colorado Springs, a massive arena. He comes in, does this big show about real estate investing, sells his product for $40,000. Okay, and a surprisingly low amount of people who invest in that program do deals. And this is not me knocking it. It's just saying when you're doing that massive coaching thing and you're charging that much for it, you've already made your money. There's less motivation, if you will, to actually help your clients do deals. That is not the case with my program. I'm a local real estate investor. I've done over 300 deals right here in the Colorado Springs marketplace. And now I am helping people just like you, people who want to get into this, to do deals by simply taking my really easy to do 5-step process to find, figure, fund, fix, and flip their first deal. And I assure you, I can help you to do the same. I love that you're asking that, Jarrell, and I would absolutely love to answer that question, but I talk about that during the coaching call. And it's not like I want to be elusive, but if I just give you a number, no matter what it is, it's going to be way too high. I promise you, I'm not inexpensive, okay? On the flip side of that, Jarrell, when you understand how my process works end to end, the value far surpasses the cost. So rather than just giving you a number, I'm going to ask you again, please hop online, go ahead and schedule, do the coaching assessment. Let's schedule a time with it. I'm going to go over in detail how I'm going to help you. Okay, I'm not just going to give you a number and say the number is always the same. I don't adjust it based on, you know, what your capabilities are or anything like that. But until you understand the process, there's no point in telling you how much it's going to cost, right? So thank you for asking that, Jarrell, but please, love to have you jump on board. Let's do a call. And I appreciate you rooting for me, man. That means a lot. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. All right, getting back to it. We can do this. The next step in this is I really want to show you a deal that we recently accomplished. And I'm super proud of this because Steve is one of my clients and hopefully he's watching. But the story with Steve, because we're bringing up unovercomable odds, okay? The story with Steve is he signed up for coaching. He heard my material, hopefully listened to the podcast, did all that stuff, scheduled a time with me. Steve actually came to my live networking event that I do each and every single week at Bell Brothers Brewing, right across the street here, okay? So at 5:30 on Wednesdays, if you want to meet me face-to-face, if this interaction is not enough for you, you're a local Colorado Springs resident and you want to come meet me face-to-face, please come by 5:30 at Bell Brothers Brewing in downtown Colorado Springs, Colorado. But it met Steve there. We hit it off immediately. Just a great guy, a lot of fun to hang out with, great conversation. We talked about his specific needs, and he decided that he was going to jump into coaching with me, which I really appreciated. Well, right after Steve signed up for coaching, he's in the military. He's one of our proud service members. Both of my parents are ex-military, by the way. My dad served in the Air Force. My mom was in the Army for years, so I'm really big on military guys. If you are in the military, I would love to work with you. I want to work with everybody, but I take a special heart towards people who have dedicated their lives to our country. So please reach out to me if you're military. We have lenders who can work specifically with military buyers. Steve put absolutely nothing down on this deal. Check out the numbers here real quick. I'm just going to do some quick disclosure here because I need you to understand the power of this program. Sharing my screen right now. Let me drop this and share the screen. Here we go. Okay, I'm not sure how we're going to see this, so I'm going to try to get as big as possible. But this is a HUD statement from Steve's deal. Okay, this is an actual deal that we just completed, and I don't want to give up too much private information here, but here's the end result. We bought the property for $255,000. He borrowed another $30,000 from the lender to do the rehab. So one of the things people are worried about is they don't have the money to put down, much less the remodeling cost to get the deal done. Okay. In this case, Steve financed in 100% of the deal, the purchase price and the rehab, for a total of $286,000. We sold the property, you see here, for $365,000. He paid $255,000, put a little over 30 into it, and then closed on it at $365,000. This is the most important number, the net to seller. Now, we're going to do a full podcast with Steve. We're going to have him on the show. Please stay tuned for that, because I really want you guys to dive into a story, because it wasn't all wine and roses. But the important thing about this story is Steve never saw this property. He was located in Poland when he bought it. He was located in Poland when we worked on the flip, okay, with my good contractors, and then he got this check, he got wired these funds, all while being located in Poland. So the point is you don't have to be here locally to do a deal. It is certainly better to be here if you can, but please don't worry about that. Hey, what up, Dan? Nice to see you, man. It's been a long time. Miss you too, man. We got to hook up. It's been a long time. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. So the point is $54,000 later, that's not net profit. There were cost of funds, there were lots of things, but we definitely exceeded the $25,000 guarantee, because despite getting relocated to another place right after signing up for coaching, despite the market being weird and interest rates going up, despite contractors still being a pain in the ass to locate and manage, we went through all of that process. And being honest, the contractor crews that I use are pretty easy to work with. Okay, I've got them trained with my system for my clients, so you're not going to have as many problems in the contractor world, but everything else that could potentially go wrong, I'm going to be standing next to you to get through it. And the net result in this case is a net take-home, a gross take-home of $54,000. Okay, this is real stuff, guys. What would your life be like if you knew you had a machine that could turn out $25,000 profits as often as you wanted to do a flip? What would your life be like if you could do that? Amazing. Am I right? Would you not be in a better place financially to do that? And I'm not talking about giving up your day job. I mean, unless you want to. There are people who come to me and they want to flip full time. I'm talking about in addition to the income that you have right now. There's a couple of agents on right now. Jarrell's a real estate agent. Daniel's a real estate agent. We've got guys who are in the industry who, in addition to their day job, could be doing this actively and making an extra 25 grand a deal 3 or 4 times per year. Okay, so no matter what the investment is, I can tell you that the net result is going to be a minimum profit of $25,000, with most of my clients whooping that by a substantial margin. But I want to be realistic. I want to put you in a remodel that is not going to kill you financially, personally, or emotionally. And that takes a little bit of filtering to make sure you're doing the right deal for you and your skill set. Okay, so again, I want to encourage you again, please hop online, go to bit.ly FCCA. There's a quick assessment, about 7 questions I asked. So I got a general idea about your financial situation, your mental situation, your goals in doing this. And then once you've accomplished that, you'll schedule a time with me. We're going to sit down, go over your answers, and discuss whether coaching's the right fit. And then if you're the type of person who can act quickly, I'm going to tell you what I charge for it on that call. And then I'm going to give you this incredible discount, because I get my best results from people who can act quickly. That we have a shortage of deals. There's not as many deals available right now, believe it or not. We're not quite in the foreclosure market that I know we are heading to at the moment. Okay, so when a deal comes along, you have to be able to act quickly. And that's going to be true even when we are in a hefty foreclosure market, when there's lots of opportunities. Buyers who can make decisions quickly will always do better than those who have to analyze the deal a lot more and spend a lot of time in analytics, right? Hey, thanks for tuning in, Dan. Much love to you as well. Really appreciate having you with me today. All right, so we're kind of wrapping up a little bit on the show. You guys got a quick example, and I want to do just a little bit of housekeeping for those who are watching still and for those who are going to watch the replay of this later on. Couple of things. Because the market doesn't have as many inexpensive deals, we were really looking to buy stuff for $300 or less with the mindset of selling for $400 or less, and that was a reaction to what the market was doing with the interest rates. So I had to take a quick look at my client situation and look at, okay, we probably need to buy cheaper properties. Well, what we are seeing now is that the interest rates are starting to impact the cheaper properties a little bit more. And it kind of makes sense, right? If somebody is just getting by and they only got pre-qualified for $380,000 at 4% or 5% interest rates, their budget, if it goes up to 6%, is going to be much less. They're not going to be able to move as much. On the flip side of that, what we're seeing now is the median price homes, the ones closer to that $400,000 to $600,000 range, and I'm speaking about Colorado Springs right now, okay? In your market, depending on where you're watching this from, it may be different, but here in the Springs, we are now finding that we want to go a little bit higher in the price range because we're getting more movement in kind of that median price range area. This is good news. It's opening up more opportunities because if you've got an ugly house, okay, imagine you're a distressed seller with an ugly house that should go for $600,000 but needs $40,000 or $50,000 worth of work, you're in a real jam right now. Okay, and these are the opportunities that I'm presenting to my clients every single day. The idea here is not that you just get coaching and we hope for the best, but rather that I'm going to walk you through step by step, piece by piece on how to get started and do your first deal. And no matter how long it takes to get that outcome, we're going to work through that. Okay, so if you have a question about what the process looks like, we can satisfy that here. Go ahead and type it in the comments right now. I'll be happy to address that. But really, because your situation is specific to you, I would love if you'd hop on a call with me, do the quick assessment at bit.ly /FDCCA. And then once you've done that, we're going to really determine what you need to overcome to get through this. Now, a lot of people come to me with a great deal of advantages. One of the advantages people have is like if you're an agent, it's easier for you to find deals because you've already got MLS access. Now, if you're not an agent, we still use the privy system. And even with your license, a lot of agents get privy because it filters the market so you can find deals in the local market without having to scour through everything on the MLS. It's a huge time saver. Other people are super analytical, so they like the figure stage. They've got an advantage there because they understand how to do analysis quickly to determine if something's a deal. Still, others have a lot of money, and if that describes you, great. If you're in a financial position where you can move some capital, it is definitely less expensive and it's definitely easier. One of the complaints that Steve had was that he should have found a little bit cheaper funding. He could have netted more with slightly less expensive funding. I'm happy we got a deal done, but the reality is if you have an advantage in that space because you've already got capital to deploy, that's going to make it easier. Maybe you're handy. I've got clients who come to me and they're just really good at swinging a hammer. That describes my client Stace and Courtney, where Stace did most of the work himself and it came out gorgeous, saved them a ton of money on paying other people to do the remodel. I don't personally have that skill set myself, but if you do, that could be something useful for you to bring to the table. And finally, the flip side, where again, if you're a real estate agent, you can list it for almost nothing because you're paying yourself, right? You can market a little more effectively. But my clients, I teach them how to reduce their transaction costs on the front and back end, ultimately resulting in more profit. So if you've got an advantage in one of the 5 F's, you're in a great spot. And we're going to determine where you have that advantage so we can make sure to orchestrate your deal around that advantage. The deals are coming. I'm doing lots of deals. I just gave you one example today, but if you're on the sidelines right now, not sure how to get started, I need you to understand the imposter syndrome is what's getting in the way right now. Okay, the market is conducive to doing this. We are still getting multiple offers on properties right now. Lots of showings. Lots of people want and need to buy homes despite the higher interest rates. And Colorado Springs is still an excellent place to live. So it's not because you can't do a deal. It's because you're not sure how to get started. You're getting in your own way and you're dealing with the same imposter syndrome that I got into when I was starting this coaching program. Now I'm getting results. I've got real world HUD statements of people who are collecting making real cash for doing this process. And yeah, I'm making a lot less than they are, but if I can help the 50 clients I want to bring in to the Colorado Springs market to do 2 deals a year, let me assure you, I'm going to be fine financially. And I'm really making an impact in the lives of the people who entrust me with helping them through their first deal. Okay. I take this very seriously. I love my job. I love what I do. And I would love to help you to do your first deal. All right, with that, I'm going to stop jabber-jocking. I've been going for a while here. Just a few more minutes left in the show. I'm going to open it up for any Q&A that you guys might have. Direct me a little bit. What is stopping you from getting going, and how can I help you to get through it? Let's take just a few minutes to address that before we wrap up for the day. Anybody want to mention anything at this point? All right. Okay, guys, listen. The time is now. The market is here. Okay, it's not a question of if you can do it, it's when you want to get started. It's when you start deciding that you want to do 3 to 4 deals a year with a minimum profit of $25,000 and you're willing to take that first leap of faith to get going. If that describes you, if you're ready to change your life and get going, I would love to have you schedule a call with me, message me, reach out to me on Facebook, whatever you need to, whatever method you want to do to reach out to me to get going. And I want to let you know about this. One of the questions I'm asked all the time is, where do we find deals? So I'm working on a free educational video, a training that I'm going to be providing out there. Please stay tuned for this, where I'm going to give you my top 5 sources, like secret sources where I find deals every single day. This is not a question of whether there are deals out there. It's where you're looking, and I can help you to look in the right location. All right, that is pretty much our show for today. If there are no other questions that you guys want to get answered, I will stop talking for right now. Open it up one more time for questions with nothing out there on there. Thank you guys for tuning in, especially those of you who stayed till the end here. It really makes me feel so much better to have people watching while I'm talking. It's not great to talk to yourself. I appreciate you taking the time to ride this to the end. And remember, guys, the market is here. It's not something you need to wait for. It's something you can do today. You just got to commit, get going. I'm signing up clients a lot, but I could definitely deal with you and help you to get your first deal done as well. With that, I'm going to wrap up, thanking you once again for tuning in and reminding you, as I do each and every single week, don't buy a house, buy a deal. Thanks, Derek. See you later.